In the final year of my engineering career, I worked on a project involving a massive suspension bridge. Looking at the finished structure, most people only see the grandeur, the towering pylons and the sweeping steel cables that carry thousands of tons of traffic. But as an engineer, I saw something different. I saw millions of individual bolts. I saw thousands of cubic meters of concrete poured in small, controlled batches. I saw a project that took 3 years to complete, not in one giant leap, but through the relentless execution of tiny, seemingly insignificant tasks. If a single bolt was tightened incorrectly, the bridge wouldn't fall down that day. If one batch of concrete was slightly off spec, the structure wouldn't collapse immediately. But if those small errors were allowed to accumulate, the bridge was destined for a catastrophic failure years later. When I entered the world of trading, I made the mistake that almost every beginner makes. I tried to build the bridge in a single day. I wanted the grand structure of wealth, the freedom of the laptop lifestyle, and the thrill of the big win immediately. I was obsessed with the destination, but I had zero respect for the small steps. In this 5th step of our 60-day journey, we are going to talk about the only way to survive the market for the long term. It is a concept I call the discipline of small steps. Greed tells you that you need a 100% return this month. Impatience tells you that you need to trade every hour. But discipline, the kind that builds bridges, tells you that your only job today is to follow your process perfectly, even if the result is only a tiny gain or no trade at all. We often overestimate what we can do in a single day of trading, and we catastrophically underestimate what we can achieve by being 1% better every single week. The market is a compounding machine, but it works both ways. It can compound your wealth, or it can compound your mistakes. Most traders are busy compounding their mistakes because they are too proud to focus on the small details. They think journaling is boring. They think reviewing their losing trades is a waste of time. They want the glory without the grit. I want you to change your focus starting today. Stop looking at your account balance as a reflection of your worth. Instead, look at your checklist. Did you wake up on time? Did you wait for your setup? Did you manage your risk? If you did those 3 small things, you had a successful day. Regardless of whether you made money or not, you are laying a single, perfect brick. And if you lay one perfect brick every day, eventually, you will have a wall that no market storm can knock down. The human brain is a magnificent tool, but it is also a survival organ that is easily overwhelmed. When you sit down at your trading desk and tell yourself, "I need to make $1 million," or "I must become a master trader in 6 months," you are actually triggering a subtle stress response. To your brain, those massive goals look like a giant mountain that is impossible to climb. When the goal feels too big, your subconscious mind looks for shortcuts. It looks for hacks, high-leverage gambles, and ways to bypass the hard work. This is the biological root of most trading errors. To defeat the second enemy, greed, and the third enemy, impatience, you must use the strategy of micro-goals. In my engineering days, we never set out to build a skyscraper in the morning. That's too abstract. Instead, the goal for the day was to verify the tension on a specific set of cables or to check the alignment of a single floor. These were small, achievable, and binary tasks. Either they were done correctly, or they weren't. Because the task was small, the brain stayed calm. Because the task was achievable, completing it provided a small hit of dopamine, the reward chemical, which fueled the energy for the next small task. In trading, your micro goals should have nothing to do with the dollar amount. If your goal is make $500 today, you are at the mercy of the market. If the market doesn't move, you fail your goal. leading to frustration and forced trades. But if your micro goal is, I will not move my stop loss today, that is 100% within your control. I remember the period when my trading account was bleeding out. I was desperate for a big win to fix everything. My mentor told me to stop looking at the profit column and gave me a simple, humiliating task. For the next 5 days, your only goal is to turn off your computer the moment you hit your daily loss limit. No exceptions. It sounded too simple. It felt like I was moving backward. But for the first time in months, I felt a sense of control. By achieving that one tiny micro goal, I was retraining my nervous system. I was teaching my brain that I was the master of the machine, not the other way around. Each day I turned off the screen on time. I felt a small victory. Those tiny victories eventually built the confidence I needed to tackle bigger challenges. You must stop trying to win the war in a single battle. Victory in the market is a death by 1,000 cuts for your ego. It is about winning the small, invisible wars that happen inside your mind every 5 minutes. Can you wait for the candle to close? That's a win. Can you accept a loss without getting angry? That's a win. Can you walk away when the market is choppy? That's a win. These small steps are the only path to the big results. If you take care of the pips, the millions will eventually take care of themselves. In engineering, there is a critical concept known as tolerance stack up. If every single component in a complex machine is off by just 1 millimeter, the final assembly will fail to function. Or worse, it will explode under pressure. However, if every part is made just 1% more precise, the entire system operates with incredible power and efficiency. Trading works exactly the same way. The difference between a trader who blows their account and a legend of the industry doesn't lie in all-in big wins. It lies in the 1% rule. Most people are drawn to trading because they want to change their life overnight. They look at the charts, see the massive price swings, and think, if I can just catch this one wave with high leverage, I'll be set for life. But the reality is that when you try to move forward 100% in a single day, you are also placing yourself in a position to lose 100% in a single day. That isn't trading. That is gambling with your destiny. Consider the power of small, incremental progress. If you improve your skills by just 1% each week, perhaps by being slightly more disciplined, cutting your losses a bit faster, or waiting a few minutes longer for a confirmation, you won't just be 52% better at the end of the year. Because of the power of compounding, you will become a completely different version of yourself, many times stronger than when you started. Human brains struggle to visualize this because we are evolved to think linearly. But the markets and success itself operate on an exponential scale. I remember the exact moment I truly understood the power of small steps. I stopped setting monthly profit targets. Instead, I set a single, humble goal. Today, I will not violate my risk management rules by even $1. I shifted my focus entirely to capital preservation instead of profit seeking. The results were magical. When I stopped trying to do big things, the small things began to accumulate. My account stopped suffering from those catastrophic drawdowns. When the large mistakes were removed, the small profits actually stayed in the account and began to grow. Never look down on a small win. A trade that nets you 0.5% with perfect discipline is infinitely more valuable than a trade that nets you 50% through sheer luck. Why? Because you can repeat discipline, but you cannot repeat luck. On this 60-day journey, I am not asking you to become a millionaire by day 60. I am asking you to be a meticulous bricklayer. Focus on taking the smallest steps with the highest possible precision. When you master the small things, The world of great things will naturally open its doors to you. There is a secret that veteran engineers always follow to avoid errors in complex projects. They don't rely on memory or momentary focus. They rely on standard operating procedures, SOPs. Before an airplane takes off, the pilots must go through a checklist of hundreds of items, even if they have flown thousands of hours. Why? Because human willpower and concentration are finite resources. If you have to use sheer willpower to force yourself to stay disciplined every single day, you will eventually burn out. The key to the long game is turning discipline into rituals. In trading, impatience and greed strike hardest when your mind is in a loose, unstructured state. To protect yourself, you need to build a corridor of rituals around every single trade. Rituals are not mystical or spiritual actions. They are physical habits that prime your brain for work mode. Look at your morning routine. Do you wake up, open the charts, and enter a trade while you're still half asleep? Or do you have a ritual, brewing a cup of coffee, doing light exercise, reviewing your trading plan, and only opening the charts when your mind is perfectly still? When you repeat a sequence of actions before trading, your brain automatically understands. Now is the time for discipline, not the time for emotion. I used to look down on these small details. I thought I was smart enough not to need a checklist. But the market taught me a painful lesson. The most foolish mistakes usually happen when I feel the most confident. Because of that, I started building my own 5-minute ritual before I hit the buy or sell button. I have to answer 3 questions on a piece of paper. 1. Is this trade part of my written plan? 2. Exactly how much money am I willing to lose if I am wrong? 3. Am I entering because of a revenge urge or a genuine opportunity? At first, this felt tedious, but after a few weeks, it became a natural reflex. It's like putting on your seatbelt when you get into a car. You do it without thinking. When discipline becomes a ritual, it no longer costs you energy. You no longer have to fight yourself to avoid reckless trades. Quite simply, you cannot enter a trade unless you have passed through the checkpoints. These small steps, ticking a box on a checklist, writing one line in a journal after every trade, are the ball bearings that keep your trading machine running smoothly. Don't look for grand secrets. Look for ways to automate your own discipline. When your actions become habits, your results become your destiny. There is an old saying that has become a cliché, but its truth is absolute. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. However, in the world of trading, we must add a second half to that sentence, and it is finished by the thousands of small, disciplined steps that follow. As an engineer, I learned that a bridge is only as strong as its weakest connection. As a trader, I learned that your career is only as stable as your smallest habit. We have spent this episode deconstructing the discipline of small steps. We have seen how the math of the 1% rule can change your life, how micro goals protect your brain from overwhelm, and how rituals can automate your success so you don't have to rely on fading willpower. The silent killer of impatience wants you to leap across the canyon. But the professional trader knows that leaping is for those who are afraid of the work. We don't leap, we build. We lay one brick, then another, then another. We respect the curing time of our own development. I want you to look at your hands right now. These are the hands that will either click the button out of boredom or stay perfectly still out of discipline. Every time you choose the small step, every time you choose to follow your checklist, to walk away after a loss, or to stay humble after a win, you are sending a message to the universe. You are saying, I am ready for the responsibility of wealth. The market is a harsh teacher, but it is also a fair one. It eventually gives everyone exactly what they deserve based on their level of discipline. If you seek shortcuts, the market will find the shortest path to your ruin. But if you respect the process, if you honor the small steps, the market will eventually reward you with a consistency that others will call luck. As we close this 5th chapter of our 60-day journey, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Stop chasing the grand slam. Start chasing the perfect routine. Tomorrow morning, don't worry about the millions. Just worry about that first cup of coffee, that first look at your plan, and that first decision to be 1% better than you were today. I am walk alone. We have faced the enemies, and now we have begun to build the foundation. The bridge to your future is being built right now, one small, disciplined bolt at a time. Sleep with a clear conscience, knowing that you followed your process. We will walk again tomorrow.